SWAT team on a midnight run with the M16 and the Ingram gun.
At the end of times, everybody hoping they could be the one. I was born to run, I was born for this. Whip, whip, run me like a racehorse, pull me like a ripcord, break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip, slip, word upon your lip, lip, rather that you rip, rip, break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes, 'cause I love how it feels when I break the chains. Whatever it takes, yeah, take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do what it takes. Always had a fear of being typical, looking at my body feeling miserable. Always hanging on.
Alright. Hey y'all, it's JPN Max here to do a quick Wu-Wei news. World War III has begun. We got a lot of fighting going on all over the world right now. We got Pakistan versus Afghanistan, Azerbaijan and the Kurds going into Iran. Of course, we're bombing Iran. Then you got the Ukrainian conflict, NATO versus Russia basically. And then you got China sitting back waiting to take over Taiwan. So this is a worldwide war. Pipelines have been blowing up recently in Saudi Arabia. They're hitting Dubai, Qatar. They're hitting all the neighbors of Iran. And they stopped the flow of traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. And when those pipelines getting blown up, there's going to be no oil getting out of the Middle East. That's like 30-40% of the oil today coming out of there. So expect oil prices to go up. Gold and silver should go up. And this World War III is going to escalate. It's left versus right on the devil's chessboard, white versus black. And at the top are the 1%. The elites, the Masons, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the royal families, the usual suspects. They're pushing for this war, and we're in it. So, no estas prepared. Oh, there's a couple clips from South Front Telegram. Enjoy. Ready, Max? Go. Good boy.
On February 28th, Israel, backed by the United States, launched a large-scale air campaign against Iran. Within hours, the Persian Gulf was pulled into open conflict. States that had tried to remain neutral, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Oman, found themselves directly affected. The risk of escalation is increasing by the day, and new participants could still be drawn in. The strategic stakes are enormous. The Gulf contains some of the world's largest oil and gas reserves, and even limited instability here immediately shakes global markets. Traders expect energy prices to surge, shipping costs to rise, and inflationary pressure to spread far beyond the region. Washington deployed additional aircraft, air defenses, and naval forces, creating a concentration of power comparable to Operation Desert Storm, though without a ground invasion. The opening wave of strikes targeted command centers, radar systems, air defenses, and airfields. The aim was to paralyze Iran's military leadership and secure immediate control of the skies. Among the targets was Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. His compound was heavily bombed. Several senior commanders were reportedly killed in coordinated attacks as well. Strategic bombers struck underground nuclear and missile facilities, attempting to cripple Iran's long-term capabilities. However, the anticipated political collapse never materialized. Despite heavy losses at the top, Iran's system adapted quickly. Successors were appointed, command channels were restored, and military units continued to function. What looked like a decapitation strike instead revealed a state structure that had prepared for exactly this scenario. Iran's response unfolded gradually but decisively. Waves of missiles and drones targeted American and Allied bases across the region, hitting facilities in the countries of the Gulf. Ports, logistics hubs, and airfields suffered damage, while several strikes landed close to civilian districts, underscoring that the conflict had no clear front line. Tehran's most powerful lever remains economic pressure. The Strait of Hormuz carries a significant share of global oil exports, and even a partial disruption threatens worldwide shortages. Tankers have already come under attack, insurance rates are climbing, and shipping traffic is slowing. For Washington, the objective is to force Iran back to negotiations and halt its nuclear and missile programs. For Tehran, success simply means endurance and the ability to impose costs on its adversaries. The broader consequences extend to China, which depends on Iranian oil, and Russia, which could profit from rising energy prices. What began as a regional confrontation is rapidly becoming a global turning point. The outcome will not only decide Iran's future, but may also reshape the balance of power for years to come. February 2026 turned out to be an extremely eventful month. Over the past month, the topic of acquiring and using unconventional weapons has become a predominant news story. On February 24th, Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service reported that France and the United Kingdom were developing a plan to transfer tactical nuclear weapons to Ukraine. The weapons in question are TN-75 warheads with a 150 kiloton thermonuclear yield. They come from M51.1 submarine-launched ballistic missiles. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he would gladly accept nuclear weapons as a gift from Western allies. London and Paris are all in. They cannot allow Ukraine to lose. The Russian army has the strategic upper hand in key areas. Because of the dire situation on the front lines, Kiev has nothing to lose. Instigated by Paris and London, it may consider a nuclear attack one of the last chances for its regime to survive. One of the most likely targets is a Russian border town such as Belgorod or Kursk. Moscow will not be able to leave this action unanswered. The Baltic states and Eastern Europe may suffer collateral damage. According to the UK and France, this should unite NATO and halt the thawing of relations between Russia and the US. Further escalation cannot be ruled out, which would lead to a direct exchange of nuclear strikes between London, Paris, and Moscow. However, the use of strategic forces is unlikely, as the cost would be too high for everyone involved. The French leadership is openly boasting that it is preparing for a possible nuclear conflict. President Macron has ordered an increase in the number of unconventional warheads in the country's arsenal. France has stated it will no longer disclose the size of its nuclear arsenal. However, the prospect of a nuclear conflict in Europe is not the only Pandora's box. At the end of February, Israel and the United States attacked Iran under the pretext of destroying its nuclear and missile programs. The main danger is that Tehran may already have a nuclear bomb. Uranium must be enriched to 5% for peaceful purposes, but according to various estimates, the Iranians have achieved a level of more than 60%. This level is sufficient for manufacturing a dirty bomb. If the fate of the country hangs in the balance, the leadership may take this extreme step. There are already 2 regions in the world where a nuclear scenario is increasingly likely. Regardless of the region, the use of such weapons will trigger events far more frightening than the Cuban Missile Crisis. Finally, due to globalization, no one will be able to remain on the sidelines. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte delivered contradictory statements within 24 hours regarding Article 5 and the Iranian conflict. First, he declared readiness to defend every inch of Allied territory. Then, he suddenly backtracked, claiming that Article 5 is not on the table. This calibrated ambiguity is a deliberate, cynical method to stress test the alliance's mandate. Officially, NATO remains uninvolved in the U.S.-Israeli operation against Iran. In practice, the bloc provides missile defense for an ally inside an active combat zone. Rutte's maneuvering exposes the unhealable fractures within the bloc. Spain and Turkey forcefully condemned the offensive against Iran as a dangerous violation of international law. France, Germany, and the UK publicly distanced themselves, calling for a diplomatic resolution. Yet Brussels blindly broadcasts unwavering support, manufacturing a narrative of an impending Iranian threat to Europe. The primary beneficiary of this geopolitical charade is Donald Trump. Stripped of his peacemaker facade, the president who vowed to end endless wars is now igniting a catastrophic regional conflagration. He uses NATO as a cheap meat shield, demanding European capitals absorb the blowback of his reckless tantrums while Washington takes very few actual risks. This is a mob-style extortion racket where Trump aggressively bullies his European vassals into supporting a war they fear, proving his anti-interventionist rhetoric was always a cynical lie. Triggering Article 5 preemptively to cover Washington's offensive would permanently destroy the logic of a defensive alliance. However, the real target of this institutional test drive is Eastern Europe, not Iran. If the collective defense threshold is lowered to an intercepted missile, refusing to invoke it in a future Baltic or Polish crisis becomes politically impossible. Meanwhile, as NATO leadership hallucinates global dominance, their proxy forces on the Ukrainian front are rapidly collapsing. On March 5th, Russian forces achieved a major strategic breakthrough on the Gallipoli front, methodically dismantling fortified defensive lines with overwhelming firepower. Simultaneously, Russian troops cleared Drabyshev and reached Le Mans' northern outskirts, tightening the operational encirclement around the degraded Ukrainian garrison. The Ukrainian command desperately struggles to plug widening gaps, lacking necessary operational reserves and artillery support. While Washington and Brussels play deceptive legalistic games to force fractured allies into obedience, their global strategy fails on two fronts. The reckless escalation in Iran exposes NATO's internal paralysis and Trump's inability to control the Middle East. Simultaneously, the actual geopolitical reality in Eastern Europe is dictated on the ground by the unstoppable advance of Russian military forces.
Hezbollah has unleashed a fresh wave of attacks against Israel, dramatically escalating tensions across the northern front as the wider regional conflict intensifies. Rockets and attack drones were launched from southern Lebanon toward key Israeli cities and military installations, marking one of the most aggressive assaults in recent weeks. In a major escalation, Hezbollah fighters fired large rocket barrages toward the Israeli port city of Haifa, while also launching swarms of attack drones at strategic targets. Air raid sirens echoed across northern Israel as residents rushed into shelters and Israeli air defenses scrambled to intercept the incoming projectiles. Israeli media reported that more than 40 rockets were launched from Lebanon in the latest barrage alone. Some of the projectiles were described as heavy rockets, capable of causing significant destruction. Several impacts were reported in and around Haifa, raising fears that the conflict is rapidly expanding beyond the immediate border areas. The assault quickly intensified. Within a short period, additional rockets and drone swarms were launched toward the northern coastal city of Nahariya. According to Israeli outlets, nearly 100 launches from Lebanon occurred within just 30 minutes, overwhelming air defense systems and forcing thousands of civilians into shelters. Hezbollah also targeted the northern settlement of Kiryat Shmona with attack drones, signaling a coordinated multi-directional offensive across Israel's northern region. Just hours before the attacks began, Hezbollah issued warnings to residents in Nahariya and Kiryat Shmona, urging them to evacuate southward. Israeli settlers later told local media that Hezbollah had fulfilled its promise to bombard the region after issuing those warnings, suggesting the strikes were carefully planned and deliberately timed. But the attacks did not stop at civilian areas. Hezbollah also directed its fire toward critical Israeli military infrastructure. One of the most alarming targets was an Iron Dome radar installation at the Kiryat Eliezer site in Haifa, a key component of Israel's missile defense network. Reports indicate that specialized missiles were used in the strike, raising concerns that Hezbollah may be attempting to weaken Israel's ability to intercept incoming rockets. Another significant strike reportedly targeted the Tel Hashemer base, the headquarters of the Israeli military's general staff, located southeast of Tel Aviv. The base lies roughly 120 kilometers from the Lebanese border, suggesting that Hezbollah may now be deploying longer-range weapons capable of reaching deeper into Israeli territory. If confirmed, such an attack would represent one of the deepest strikes linked to Hezbollah since the latest escalation began. Drone operations also reportedly targeted facilities belonging to Elta Military Industries northeast of Haifa, as well as the Haifa oil refinery, both considered highly strategic assets for Israel's defense and energy infrastructure. Meanwhile, the fighting extended to the immediate border areas. Hezbollah launched a rocket barrage toward the Ein Zeitim base near Safed, while simultaneously confronting Israeli troop movements along the frontier. Clashes intensified in southern Lebanon near the towns of Markaba and Al-Khiam. Hezbollah fighters reportedly used rockets and attack drones to strike gatherings of Israeli soldiers and military vehicles, turning the border region into a dangerous combat zone. One attack targeted a large concentration of Israeli military vehicles near the Hunin Gate opposite the town of Markaba. Another drone strike hit Israeli soldiers positioned on the south outskirts of Al-Khiam. The Israeli army later confirmed that 2 soldiers from the elite Givati brigade were wounded after an anti-tank missile was fired during the clashes in southern Lebanon.
Bro. Oh, oh, oh my God, dude, fucking missile actually got through. Oh, there's more. I gotta get the.
apocalyptic scene that we're seeing here. We've just made it to the Shahran oil depot, which was attacked last night in major airstrikes. We heard those for hours, really, last night, those massive thuds, and you can see that the damage here is immense. There's a tank right there.
And I'm on my great days, I will tease you all the same. On holy water,